I wrote a book in 2018 that's called Inland Shift, Race, Space, and Capital in Inland Southern California, that looked at, how did the Inland Empire become this kind of focal point for the global logistics economy? I was looking around. I went to college, the Claremont colleges in the early 1990s. And when I was there, I talked to a lot of community members. We were working on community environmental issues, community development issues in Riverside, Ontario, and all of those areas. And what we found is a lot of communities, especially in places like Miraloma, in places like Chino, places like Ontario, were dealing with the expansion of the warehouse industry in those areas. And so we were kind of curious about why is it? Why is it that all of a sudden we start to see the expansion of warehouses in the early 1990s in the Inland Empire? And so after I finished my college degree at the Claremont Colleges, I did some work working on um, uh, labor justice issues, environmental justice issues, and then decided to go back to school, where I went to UC Berkeley to get my PhD. And part of the PhD program means picking a topic that you want to write on for your dissertation. And I kind of had an idea about what I wanted to do, and then figured out and realized that I should really go back to that question. Why is it that the Inland Empire became such an important hub for the global logistics industry? And really thinking about the role of the Inland Empire in global capitalism, right? And so I started writing, and it took me a while to do, as dissertations take. But I wrote about just why the region became such an important part of the global logistics um, industry, and realized that a lot of it had to do with the expansion of the port of LA. And the way that local politicians and business leaders invested billions of dollars in expanding the capacity of the port. And they did so because the United States was essentially at that time going through this period of globalization, where there were a lot of factories and manufacturing plants that were being shut down, and people were losing their jobs. And so local political leaders, you know, thought about it, and tried to figure out how to replace all of the jobs that were being lost during the manufacturing decline in the post 1980s and 90s period.